Stephen J Cannell, the genius idiot. Well, there's a lot of stories about that, but I'll tell you the truth. My brother and I, before we could afford to take our vacations in Hawaii, we took our vacations at Balboa Island. I was married, my brother was married. My brother had one child, and we had this house about 2 blocks off the beach. We couldn't afford a beachfront house. And on this Saturday, my mother and father were going to come down, some cousins were going to come down. We needed to stake out some territory on the beach. So we both got up kind of early and we walked down there. Now, my brother at the time weighed about 230 pounds, and I weighed 168 pounds, 160 pounds, about 160 pounds at the time. But we were both really yoked out. We were both buff. We were both valley guys. We also had had a couple of beers the night before, so we woke up at 7. We were a little edgy, I guess. We didn't say anything, you know, we just walked down the beach with all these towels. We jump over the seawall. Now it's cloudy out, 7 o'clock in the morning. It's cloudy out. I jump over, right where we had told all these people we were going to meet them, there's all these towels spread out. I'm going, what's going on here? So Bud said, well, I'm going to go over on the other side of the pier and see if I can. I said, bullshit, let's just move some towels there. There's room for everybody here, you know. So I start moving these towels. All of a sudden I hear, hey! I don't see anybody. I don't know what the hell's going on. Not talking to me. So I'm moving the towels. And I go, hey, you, quit moving my towels. And I turn around and I look, and there's this great big opulent beachfront house. And there's this guy standing in the doorway smoking his thin little cigar with his iron jaw, and his hair's sprayed. And I just don't like this guy right away. Right away, I'm going, oh, man, who is this jerk? So I said, you talking to me? He goes, yeah, quit moving my towels. I said, I'm not moving any towels. You must be blind. He goes, quit moving my... I mean, now he's red in the face, and he's screaming. And he's screaming like 50 feet away from me, 100 feet away from me. And I'm going, you know what? So I jump over the seawall, and I start walking up. You know, okay, okay. So I'm figuring, and the closer I get, the bigger this guy gets. I go, oh, shit, you know, okay. But I'm still pissed, and I'm still, like, not backing up, so I'm going to go, okay, I wonder what's going to happen here. So I hear my brother's whistle, and he whistles, and he goes, wait, stop. Now, he comes running. And when you see this big, blonde, neck like this bull coming at you, you know, it's like, okay. And when my brother says anything, I listen. Stop, don't anybody do anything. So now he paddles up the walkway, and I paddle up. Now I got my big brother with me. I mean, you know, this guy could have a howitzer. It's okay. So he goes up, and Bud says, look, he says, how big are you? I says, I'm 6'2". He said, well, he's 5'8". He said, but he's very tenacious. And he said, you know, he's probably going to be okay. He's probably going to get you. He said, but if he doesn't, so I'm going to send you to the hospital. So now what do you want to do? Guy looks at my brother, and I'm sitting there like this, you know. Looks at my brother, he looks at me, looks at my brother, looks at me, and he goes back in the house. So I nod my head, and I go, okay, well, that was pretty easy. So we walk, we start walking. It took me about a half a block, and I just start feeling horrible. I go, oh, man, when are you going to grow up? When are you going to stop this? This is, you know, come on, okay, geez. Whole morning, I just felt crappy. I told my wife, I dropped the flag on myself. Man, I was a jerk. I was a complete jerk to this guy. Lied to the guy, moved his towels. We go back down. Now he's down there with his family. He's got a little boy. His parents are there. You know, my parents are there. And I'm going, oh, God, this is awful. This is just, I'm just a jerk. You know, I've got to turn over a new leaf. So my brother starts talking to him. My brother said, hey, you know, we're sorry. He's really a good guy. Yeah, really a good guy. He said, no, he's really. So now I go over and I introduce myself. I apologize. And I said, you know, I'm Mike Post. He said, what do you do? And I said, well, I produce records. And I said, I'm music director in the Andy Williams Show. And he said, what records? I said, well, you know, First Edition, Classical Gas. Blah, blah. My God, those are my favorite records. I went, oh, my God, you're so creative. And I said, yeah. I said, what do you do? He said, oh, man, he said, you know, I'm trying to be a script writer. He said, but I've never sold anything. I said, well, that's a big-ass house you got there. He said, well, my parents are filthy rich. He said, but I've never made a dime. I said, well, geez. So now we start hanging out every day at the beach. And then we go water skiing, and we go doing all this. And this guy's a hell of an athlete. I mean, this guy can really throw the football. He's just a great athlete. And now it's readily apparent this guy would have sent me to the hospital, you know, and except for my brother being there. And now we get to be really good. At the end of the 2 weeks, he says this line to me. I remember this like it was yesterday. He said, you know, if I could ever convince a producer that would buy a script of mine, if I could ever convince a producer, I think your music would be great, you know, behind drama on television or film. I said, hey, Steve, we're friends. I said, I'm not going to do that. Me on TV? I'm in a rock and roll record business. I did the Andy Williams show a little, you know, that bought me a house, but I'm not, man, no way. I'm never doing that. I'm a genius. I'm just a genius, you know. I can just see the future so clearly. And of course, our careers together have been the best thing that ever happened to me. I hope good for him. I know good for him. And the greatest friendship, the greatest collaboration, because this fool, make no mistake, this is a fool we're talking about, that's a genius. This guy makes up stories and writes scripts that are better than anybody. He is the absolute gorilla at that. He can write faster, better, smarter than anybody that was ever born for that medium, for that kind of television. And you know, if you take all of them, all the big guns, you take Wolf or Bochco or you know, Milch or David Chase or any of them, you wake them out of a sound sleep and go, are you scared of anybody? They go, Cannell. I mean, and you know, for him to make those stories up and come and say the weirdest things to me. I said, well, what are you thinking about, Steve? Well, you know, I'm thinking about the Beach Boys. And then I go, oh, I know what he's talking about. You know, so that's why I said what I said about meetings. You don't have meetings with Steve Cannell, you just hang. And he'll just say some genius stuff to you that nobody else would say, that's so smart. And it may only be a sentence. And he thinks it's stupid, you know, because he's down deep inside, he's insecure about messing with music. He's like, man, I don't know what I'm talking about. But he'll say something about, as a film inventor. He's more than a filmmaker. He's a film inventor. And it'll just go, oh, man. And that's what he and Bochco and Wolf have in common. They're all really good at that with me. They're all really smart at that. So my career is really just, it all sprang from Cannell. I mean, he introduced me to Bochco, and you know, and Dick Wolf was, you know, was writing on Hill Street. So that's the way all this happened, all from Cannell. It's a simple little career. It's just working for these three guys. It's not taking a bunch of meetings. It's not, people say, oh, you must be a great businessman because you've made it financially so good. Are you kidding me? I don't have a price. I don't have a minimum. You know, you want me to do your show, I'll do your show. How much can you pay me? I mean, pay me whatever you can pay me. I don't care. I'm not doing it for the money. I mean, the money's great, but I didn't start out doing it for money. I'm not going to end up doing it for money. I'm doing it for music. And the byproduct of that is, you know, is you want to do an interview with me and somebody wants to really look at this, and I've done a bunch of stuff that's maybe going to last a while.